you grew up in a family that public service was really the theme of the family. Your own father was the chief judge of the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit. Your grandfather actually served on the Supreme Court of North Carolina for a good while, and then actually went on to serve in the United States Senate, and actually was a part of some very important business toward the end of his career during the Watergate era. Your own mother served on the school board. Your grandfather began practicing in the western part of the state in 1878 and went on to just really distinguish himself within the bar, and also served on the local school board himself. So public service came naturally to you. But when you were growing up, did you always think you would go into public service?
Well, I always knew that was something I was interested in. You never, as you know yourself, it's not anything you can plan on doing. That there has to be some fortuity involved if you have a career in public service. But we talked about public service issues when my grandparents came home from Washington, and we ate dinner together. There were regular discussions of public issues. My grandfather supposedly played devil's advocate with my mother when she first joined the family, and she never quite knew what he thought himself, because he would always take whatever position anybody else took. He did that on into my childhood. But he talked about that when my dad was a Superior Court judge, which was a job he had before he was on the Fourth Circuit.
Right.
He would frequently come in at the dinner table after court, and we would discuss the cases that he had heard during the day. As I think I said at my investiture, we sentenced a good number of people over the dinner table.
So then you go on to the Utilities Commission.
Right.
And tell me a little bit about that.
Well, nobody knows much about what the Utilities Commission is. You never talked to me about what your opinion of utility appeals was when we served together. I know most appellate judges ran from them as far as they could, but I enjoyed being on the commission.
You go on to serve on the Court of Appeals as well as the Supreme Court.
Right.
It was an honor for me to serve with you.
And likewise.
Are there any morsels of wisdom you would share, maybe things that you know now that you wish you would have known then as you were evaluating law as an option?
I'm going to say things coming out of two different sides of my mouth. But I think we all need, those of us who are involved in the profession, need to be candid about what the profession involves. On the one hand, it gives you, as I've already said, it gives you an unparalleled opportunity to make a positive difference in the life of your community or in the life of individual citizens, particularly out in the small towns. The leadership of the community in many instances comes from the bar. And there's a long tradition of such leadership from lawyers, and that's something that needs to continue. Now, the legal profession, like every other profession, is not a no-stress environment. You can do well economically in some circumstances. Sometimes you don't. But you have to be prepared to deal with a certain level of stress, because what you're doing is mitigating the conflict in society. And that, by definition, involves some ability to deal with the stresses that the profession puts on people. And so don't be surprised if you enter into the legal profession that people don't agree with each other. Don't be surprised that people try to attain different ends than the ones that you think are appropriate, and be prepared to accept that and deal with it. And so the two things I would point to are, one, you have to be able to deal with stress, and secondly, you have an unparalleled opportunity to do good if you choose to.
Well, that is outstanding. Thank you so much for
Thank you
taking time to speak with me this afternoon.
It's always a privilege, and it's great to see you.
Yes, sir.